7-year-old homeless girl saves a dying soldier unaware he is billionaire's lost son. What he did next shocked everyone. Hello family, welcome back. Please do well to subscribe and let's know where you are watching the story from in the comment section. Rain hammered Houston like it wanted to wash the whole city away. Cars hissed on the I-45, throwing grey spray into the air. Down below, under the overpass near a patch of muddy grass and a broken shopping cart, a 7-year-old girl wrapped herself in a thin blanket and tried to make the cold feel smaller. Her name was Lily Carter. She was small even for 7, with sharp elbows and a quick pair of eyes that watched everything. She had a little backpack with a zipper that stuck. Inside it were all her treasures: a broken plastic doll with one eye, a crumpled photo of her mom, 2 granola bars she had been saving, and a red scarf that still smelled like laundry soap. Lily talked to the doll sometimes because silence made her feel like the night could swallow her whole. "It's just rain," she whispered, tucking the blanket tighter. "Rain can't hurt us." The doll, of course, said nothing. A gust of cold wind punched through the underpass. Lily shivered. The concrete above her head dripped in 2 places, steady as ticking. She counted the drips. 1, 2, 3. Counting helped. Counting made time move. A stray dog trotted by, ribs showing, tail wagging like it was trying to be brave. Lily sat up and broke 1 granola bar in half. "Hey, buddy," she said softly. "Want some?" The dog sniffed, licked her fingers, and took the piece. He ate it fast, looked at her like he wanted more, then jogged away into the rainy dark. "You're welcome," Lily called after him. "Be safe." Her voice sounded too small under the roar of the freeway. She hugged her backpack to her chest and looked at the photo again. Her mom, Nora Carter, had warm brown eyes and a smile that made people trust her. She worked cleaning houses. She used to hum while she folded towels. Then she got sick fast, the kind of sick that makes doctors frown. After that, everything slid out from under them: apartment, friends, the phone number that didn't work anymore. Lily learned the edges of the city, the places where nobody asked questions. "Okay, Mom," Lily whispered to the photo. "I'm trying." Across the street, the fluorescent sign of a convenience store flickered. The windows were fogged, the door chime broken, the kind of place that smelled like coffee and old mop water. Lily stared at it and fought the itch in her stomach. She had 1 granola bar left. She should save it. Save it for morning. "Morning is a long time from now," she told the doll. "But we can wait." A truck roared overhead, making the concrete tremble. The rain thickened. Somewhere nearby, a bottle broke with a sharp crack. Lily scooted deeper into the shadow and tried to think about warm things: dry socks, hot soup, the way her mum's hands felt when they braided her hair. Then she heard it. A low sound, like a hurt animal coming from the alley beside the convenience store. Not a cat, not a dog, a person. It rose and faded, a raw, scraped-out groan. Lily froze. Her heart kicked hard. She glanced toward the street. No one was around, just a river of headlights, hissing tires, and rain. "Don't," she told herself. "Don't go over there." Another groan, then a heavy, wet cough. "Someone could be in trouble," she whispered. "Trouble is not your friend," she answered herself, repeating one of her mother's rules. But under those rules there was another one her mom had said even louder. "If you can help, help." Lily slid the blanket off her shoulders and jammed the photo and the doll back into her backpack. She pulled up the hood of her thin sweatshirt. The zipper stuck again. She yanked it closed with cold fingers and sprinted across the street between 2 cars, feet slapping through water, breath fast and high in her chest. The alley was a dark tunnel. A dumpster squatted against a brick wall, overflowing with black bags and old boxes. The smell was sour. A string of busted Christmas lights hung from a nail, dead and tangled. Lily pressed her back to the wet bricks and listened. For a second all she heard was rain. Then it came again. A rough, broken sound, like someone had swallowed glass. "Hello?" Lily called. "Are you okay?" Silence. Then a cough that sounded like it hurt a whole body. She edged forward, one step at a time, scanning the shadows. Her eyes found a shape behind the dumpster, slumped against the wall. At first she thought it was a pile of clothes. Then the pile moved. A hand twitched. A boot scraped. "Hey," Lily said, softer now. "Mister?" The man was tall, even curled on the ground. He was soaked through. Mud streaked his face. His hair was dark and too long, like he hadn't seen a barber in months. There was a cut above his eyebrow, swollen and ugly. His breathing came in shallow pulls, like each one cost too much. Lily crouched beside him. "Can you hear me?" His lips parted. A whisper slipped out. "Cold." "I know," Lily said. "Me too." She looked around for a coat, a blanket, anything. Nothing. She pulled her own thin blanket from her backpack and laid it over his chest. It was small, but it was something. "Don't die," she said, without meaning to. The words shot out and hung in the air. His eyelids fluttered. He tried to focus on her and failed. Lily saw something shiny on his chest. A pair of metal tags on a chain, pressed against a grey t-shirt. She'd seen tags like that in posters, on the bus stops. Soldiers. She reached out and lifted one gently. The metal was cold as ice. Letters were stamped into it. Daniel Brooks. Blood type. A number. "Daniel," she read in a shaky whisper. "Your name is Daniel." He didn't answer. His chest rose in a thin lift, then fell and stayed down too long. Lily's stomach F-lipped. "You have to breathe," she said. "Come on, breathe." A memory flashed in her head. A day at the shelter when a lady in a red jacket showed them what to do if someone stopped breathing. Press and count. Press and count. Mouth to mouth if you were brave. Lily remembered the woman's calm voice, the rubber practice dummy, the way people clapped when a heart started again. "Okay," Lily told herself. "Okay." She dropped to her knees beside Daniel and put the heel of one small hand in the middle of his chest. She stacked her other hand on top like the lady had taught. She was 7. She was scared. But she pressed anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. Her elbows locked. Her shoulders shook. "Breathe," she whispered. "Please." Daniel's head rolled, just a little. A gurgle rattled in his throat. She kept pressing. 5, 6, 7. She smelled rain, metal, and the sour mix of trash. She heard her own breath whistling. "Don't die here," she said. "Not in this alley, not alone." His chest hitched. He dragged in a thin, cut-up breath. It wasn't enough. She bent over him, pinched his nose like the lady did, and pressed her mouth to his. She breathed for him, pulled back, counted again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Her hands were numb. Tears were hot in her eyes, even with the cold. "Please," she said again, and this time it cracked. Daniel coughed. It was ugly and wet, but it was a cough. He pulled in a bigger breath. Lily sagged in relief for half a second, then snapped herself back. Breathing didn't mean safe. Not yet. He needed help. Real help. "Stay," she told him, like he was a dog that could run away. It sounded silly even as she said it. She wiped her mouth with the back of her sleeve, grabbed her backpack, and ran. The corner store's door stuck a little. She shoved it with both hands and slipped inside. The bell didn't ring. The air was warmer by 5 degrees and smelled like coffee that had been burned on purpose. A man with a knit cap stood behind the counter, bored eyes on a tiny TV that showed the weather radar, green blobs sliding over a map of Texas. "Hey," Lily gasped. "Please, call an ambulance." The man blinked at her. "What?" "There's a guy," she said. "He's dying in the alley. He's not breathing right. Please." The clerk looked over her shoulder toward the door like he could see through it. "You messing with me, kid?" "No, sir," Lily said. Her voice went very small and very steady. "Please. He needs help." The clerk frowned, picked up a phone, and dialed slow, like his fingers were heavy. He gave an address and the word alley and the word unconscious. He hung up and looked at Lily again. "They're coming." She grabbed a plastic cup from the counter, ran to the soda fountain and filled it with water. The machine groaned and spit and finally gave her a clear stream. She ran back out into the rain before the clerk could say anything else. In the alley, Daniel's breathing was shallow but moving. She slid next to him and put the cup to his lips. "Sip," she said. "Just a little." His eyes fluttered open. For a second, they were clear grey. He looked at her like he was trying to remember a word. "Angel," he whispered. Lily made a face. "Number, I'm just Lily." He tried to smile. It was crooked and gone fast. "Cold," he said again. "I know." She tucked the blanket tighter and held it there with both hands. The rain slapped the pavement. The sound of sirens was far away, a thin note inside the storm. She pressed her ear close to Daniel's chest. His heart thudded unevenly like a drum that had been dropped. "Who did this?" she asked softly. She didn't expect an answer. People on the street got hurt for all kinds of reasons. Wrong place. Wrong time. Bad luck with a mean face. He swallowed. "Took. Things," he said. "Wallet. Phone." His fingers twitched toward the tags on his chest, like he was checking they were still there. "They didn't take these," Lily said. "Good." He shut his eyes again. Rain ran down his cheek like a tear. Lily wiped it away with the edge of her sleeve, like she would for herself. The sirens grew louder. Lights flashed blue and red at the mouth of the alley, painting the wet brick. Lily's stomach clenched. Ambulance meant help. Ambulance also meant questions. Questions meant papers, names, the kind of attention that could pull her into rooms with white walls and tired social workers and promises that didn't come true. She squeezed Daniel's hand. "I'm going to move back, okay? But I'll be here." He didn't answer. She scooted to the side as two EMTs splashed into the alley with a stretcher, fast and focused. "Male, late 20s, one called. "Maybe," Lily said. "He said his name is Daniel." The EMTs knelt, put a mask over his face, checked his pulse, his pupils, the cut on his head. Their movements were quick and sure, like a dance they'd done 1,000 times. "What happened?" the other asked without looking up. "I found him," Lily said. "He wasn't breathing good. I pushed like this." She showed with her hands, small palms pressing the air. The EMT's eyes flicked up at her, surprised. "You did chest compressions?" "Yes," she said. "Like the lady taught at the shelter." "Good job," he said, and his voice softened. "You helped him." Warmth ran through Lily's chest at the words. It felt like a small light in a big cave. The EMTs strapped Daniel onto the stretcher, lifted and moved. The rain might as well have not existed for how fast they moved. Lily followed a few steps, then stopped. The ambulance doors were open. Inside, everything was bright and clean and full of metal. The space looked like a ship going somewhere safe. "Hey," the EMT said, turning back to her. "What's your name?" Lily's mouth opened. The answer rose to her lips. Then she swallowed it and zipped her backpack higher on her shoulder. "I have to go," she said. "Please help him." "We will," he said. "You saved him. You should come to the hospital." Lily shook her head. Her feet wanted to run. Her heart wanted to stay. She took one step back, then another. The EMT started to say something else, but the other tapped his arm, and they slid into the ambulance. The doors swung shut. The sirens hit like a punch. The ambulance, pulled away, lost itself in the rain and lights of Houston at night. Lily stood alone in the alley with her wet blanket in her hands and the sound of the city pressing in. The convenience store clerk popped his head out the door and looked at her like he didn't know what to do with a kid who ran toward trouble instead of away from it. She gave him a small nod, like thank you, and turned back toward the underpass. The rain was softer now, more steady than angry. Her sneakers squished, her toes were numb. She thought about the word Daniel had used, angel. It made her feel weird, like a joke and a prayer at the same time. "I'm not an angel," she told the night. "I'm just Lily." But she felt different than she had an hour ago, lighter somehow, even with wet clothes sticking to her skin. She tucked her blanket under her arm and pulled the red scarf from her backpack. She wrapped it around her neck and breathed in the faint, clean smell. It made her think of her mum's voice. It made her think of warm hands and a soft, "You did good." Back under the overpass, she found her dry spot, if a spot could be called dry when the air itself felt like water. She wrung out her blanket and laid it over herself. The drone of the freeway wrapped around her like a rough lullaby. She closed her eyes and pictured Daniel's face in the moment he looked at her, really looked, with those grey eyes that had found her inside the storm. "Please be okay," she whispered. Her stomach grumbled. She took the last granola bar out of her backpack and held it, thinking, the dog might still be out there. She broke the bar in two again, half for her now, half for morning. She ate slow, letting each bite sit. She tucked the other half deep in the bag. A black SUV rolled by on the street beyond the barrier, tires cutting clean lines in the water. Lily didn't see it. She didn't see the glow of a phone lighting the face of a man in the back seat, the way his jaw set hard when he read a new message from a number that finally answered. She didn't hear the words, "Your son's been found," because those words were far away, in a different part of the city, in a different kind of night. She only heard rain. She only felt the rhythm of her own heart, slowing. Her cheeks were still damp. Her hands still smelled like metal and soap from the ambulance. "Tomorrow," she told the doll, tucking it close. "We'll see about tomorrow." The freeway roared. The rain steadied. Somewhere out there, a siren faded to nothing. Lily fell asleep under the overpass in Houston, small and stubborn and still, not knowing she had just pulled a thread that would unravel a whole city's worth of secrets. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Through our stories, we build hope and give future to children and women abused all over the world. Motivate us by subscribing to hitting the subscribe button and turning on your notification bell. Also let us know in the comments where you are watching us from and how this story hit home for you. The rain in Houston had a way of hanging in the air even after it stopped falling. The streets still glistened, reflecting neon from liquor store signs and the orange glare of the freeway lamps. But in the white, sterile light of St. Joseph Medical Center's trauma bay, the rain didn't matter. Daniel Brooks lay on a gurney with wires taped to his chest and a line in his arm. Machines blinked quietly beside him. His breathing was steadier now, deeper, but his body felt like it belonged to someone else. He tried to open his eyes. They felt heavy, sticky. The first thing he saw was the ceiling, flat, white, no movement. Then a shape leaned over him. "You're in a hospital," a nurse said, voice brisk but kind. "You were found in an alley. You're safe now." Daniel's lips were dry. "Alley?" His voice was rough, barely a scrape. "Do you remember your name?" she asked, checking the monitor. He closed his eyes, trying to pull up the memory like it was a photo buried under too many other photos. "Daniel," he said slowly. "Daniel Brooks." The nurse smiled faintly. "Good. You've got a head injury, and you were severely dehydrated. We'll keep you here for a bit." Her words faded as a flash of memory punched through, rain on his face, cold concrete at his back, and small hands pressing on his chest. A child's face, blurred by water. "The girl," he said, sharper this time. "What girl?" the nurse asked. "She was there. She helped me breathe." The nurse hesitated. "The EMTs didn't mention a girl, are you sure?" He opened his eyes again, meeting hers. She was real. Hours earlier, Daniel had been walking down a narrow street on Houston's east side, his hood pulled low. He remembered stepping into the alley to avoid a group of men at the corner. Then a shove. A voice saying, "Check his pockets." A blow to the head. Boots splashing away into the dark. He remembered reaching for his phone, but it was gone. His wallet, gone. The tags around his neck, still there. He always kept them tucked under his shirt. After that, it was just flashes. The cold, the rain, the girl's voice saying, "Don't die." Daniel stirred, lifting a hand toward his chest. The nurse pushed it gently back down. You need to rest. The doctor will be in soon. But Daniel couldn't rest. He kept seeing her. Soaked hair plastered to her forehead. Tiny shoulders trembling under a thin sweatshirt. 7? Maybe 8. He'd served overseas, seen kids in worse places, but something about her face, determined, unflinching, hooked deep into him. She could have run. She could have left him there to drown in the rain. But she stayed. Across the city, Lily was awake again under the overpass. Morning light didn't make the concrete softer. It just showed the cracks and stains clearer. She chewed the last half of the granola bar, washing it down with the last sips from her bottle. Her blanket was still damp from the night before. Her head was full of the man in the alley. Was he okay? Did they fix the cut on his head? Did they believe her when she said his name was Daniel? She pulled out the photo of her mom and stared at it. He called me an angel, she whispered. Weird, huh? The doll said nothing, as usual. The underpass rumbled with trucks above. A city bus hissed to a stop at the corner. A woman with a coffee cup hurried past without looking at her. Lily wasn't surprised. People saw what they wanted to see, and a homeless kid wasn't high on the list. At the hospital, Daniel's doctor came in. A tall man in a white coat with reading glasses perched low on his nose. Mr. Brooks, he said, flipping through a chart. You're a lucky man. You had mild hypothermia, a concussion, and your blood sugar was dangerously low. Whoever found you probably saved your life. Daniel pushed himself up a little. A girl. She found me. The doctor glanced up. A girl? 7, maybe 8 years old. She did chest compressions. Called 911. I remember her voice. The doctor made a note. Did the paramedics see her? Number she was gone when they got there. The doctor sighed. If she's a child on the street, finding her might not be easy. Daniel's jaw tightened. Then I'll look until I do. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard her voice again, urgent and small. He'd been a soldier long enough to know that when someone saves your life, you owe them more than words. The tags around his neck felt heavier now. They weren't just his name and number anymore. They were a reminder. 2 days later, Daniel was discharged with a fresh bandage over his eyebrow and a hospital bag containing donated clothes. Outside, the Texas air felt different, still heavy with humidity but alive. He started on foot, retracing his memory of that night. The corner store was easy to find. Faded red awning, open 24 hours, sign buzzing faintly. The same clerk was there, slouched behind the counter. He looked up when Daniel walked in. Hey, Daniel said. 2 nights ago, did a little blonde girl come in here and tell you to call 911? The clerk squinted. You're that guy from the alley? That's me. Yeah, she came in. Tiny thing. Looked like she hadn't eaten in days. Do you know her? Daniel asked. The clerk shook his head. Never seen her before. She was gone before the ambulance got here. Kids like that, they know how to vanish. Which way did she go? The clerk pointed toward the overpass. That way. But it's a maze out there. Good luck. Daniel spent the next 3 hours walking under the I-45, checking alleys, peering under bridges, scanning bus stops. He asked a man pushing a shopping cart if he'd seen a little girl with a red scarf. The man shrugged and kept walking. By late afternoon, Daniel's legs ached. He stopped at a food truck, bought 2 sandwiches, and carried one in his hand just in case. It wasn't until the sun started dropping behind the skyline that he caught a flicker of movement under the overpass. A small figure crouched behind a concrete pillar, unwrapping something from a napkin. He knew it was her before he saw her face. Lily froze when she spotted him coming closer. She recognized the man from the alley instantly. Cleaner now, the cut on his head patched, walking steadier. You, she said, standing but keeping her backpack close. You're alive. Thanks to you, Daniel said. He held out the sandwich. I've been looking for you. She hesitated, eyes darting to the street, then to the food. Hunger won. She stepped forward, took the sandwich and unwrapped it slowly. You didn't have to, she said, not looking at him. Yes, I did, Daniel said. You saved my life. She shrugged. I was just there. Number you stayed. That's different. Lily bit into the sandwich, chewing like she didn't trust it to last. People don't usually come back. I'm not most people, Daniel said. He sat down on the curb a few feet away so she wouldn't feel trapped. They ate in silence for a while, cars rumbling overhead. Finally, Daniel asked, "Where's your family?" She stiffened. "Don't have any. No one." She shook her head, staring at the bread in her hands. "It's just me now." Daniel's throat tightened. He'd seen this before. In war zones, in places where kids had to grow up overnight. "You deserve better than this," he said. "Everybody says that," Lily replied, wiping her mouth with the back of her hand. "Then they leave." Daniel didn't answer right away. He just looked at her, really looked, and knew he couldn't be one of those people. What Daniel didn't know was that across town, in a glass-walled office at the top of the Brooks Industries building, a man with silver hair was staring at his phone. Richard Brooks had just received a call that stopped him cold. "Sir, we found your son. Watch out for part 2.